Hi, Dawn Stensland-Menti here. Tonight, I want to focus on an epidemic that strikes at least 20% of all American children. No, I'm not talking about autism or cancer. The epidemic I'm talking about is something we have collectively failed to fight. And when I say we, I mean all of us: government, schools, churches, communities, and most of all, families. In a moment, you'll hear from Risa Vetri-Furman. She is Montgomery County District Attorney and recently received national honors for being a leader in the battle against the epidemic I'm talking about. What is this epidemic? It strikes 1 in 4 girls and 1 in every 6 little boys. I'm talking about child abuse, more specifically, child sex abuse. Tonight, you'll learn what's new in this battle and what you can do. But let's begin with a survivor of abuse from our area, Sasha Joseph Newlinger. Take a look.
Sexual abuse, it shakes your foundation. And at least for me, I was stuck in the pain of those experiences, and my life was dedicated to trying to free myself from that pain. Because the thing is that once you hit rock bottom, it's very hard to get back up. Once you have such an understanding of the deepest, darkest pain that is out there, you also have within you the ability to understand and share the greatest forms of love and compassion.
And Sasha's compassion and courage to speak out will have us all in tears tonight. Sasha joins us in just a moment, but first we want to welcome District Attorney Risa Vetri-Furman. Risa, how has Sasha inspired you? You've known him, in fact, since he was a little boy in the system, right?
I've known him for such a long time. I can't even remember how old he was when I first met him, but he was under the age of 10. And he's been a part of my life for a long time. And inspired is the word. That absolutely is the word, because he is one of those children that I met on my journey as a prosecutor fighting against child sexual abuse. And he's one of those people who he and his family stayed with it, and they fought in the system, and they had to endure not just horrible abuse at the hands of multiple people, but also a system that was really damning to kids.
And you know, I want to talk about it more, but I just want to say something off the top, because a lot of you might think this is an awkward topic. It's hard to hear about, and this is not going to happen in my family. This is not going to happen in my community. Well, I promise you right now, as you're sitting there watching this, because I have people in my family. I'm sorry, but there's somebody you know in your life who is going through this or who has survived this.
And that's the most important lesson. I mean, I see how it impacts you, and it's so personal and it's so real. And Sasha was in my community, in one of the most wealthy communities, a very well-respected family, and it was one of those places where this is not supposed to happen here. It just doesn't happen here. It happens to other people. It doesn't happen where we live. And nothing could be further from the truth. And so my battle as a prosecutor started in the courtrooms, just fighting case by case by case and trying to bring justice to those kids who had been hurt and those families, and hold those perpetrators accountable. But now that the battle has gone outside of the courtroom and it's out in the community, to educate people, to let people know this does happen. It is real. It is impacting families. It is impacting families across our community that you don't even realize, and that if we don't stand up and fight it together, it will continue to be worse for kids.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I can't even talk about it too much because I have family members and friends, and I'm the only one that people have told, because there's such a stigma. There's so much ignorance to it, and they go through the system. And one of the things we want to talk about is a place that you really helped create called Mission Kids. And it was because of cases like Sasha, where he was abused from age 4 to 7, and then in the system trying to have justice till age 17, I think. Tell us about Mission Kids, and we have some pictures of the center and how that came about.
Mission Kids is our child advocacy center in Montgomery County, and a child advocacy center is it's a place. It's a place where all of the professionals who respond to child abuse come together in this place in the best interest of the child. So we conduct interviews there. Interviews are conducted by specially trained forensic interviewers, so a child can tell his or her story one place, one time, and then move on. And we, as the professionals, we come together, we watch via closed circuit video, we record the statements, audio and video, and we then do our jobs working together collaboratively to do the highest quality investigation, but at the same time protecting that child and making sure after the child comes and after giving the statement about what happened, We then send them out back into the community with tools to get better. We focus on getting them the healing counseling that they need, whether it's medical treatment, mental health treatment, support for the family, getting them whatever they need to help the child and family triumph over that trauma.
And that was the one thing that happened to the loved one of mine. It was a coach, and this was a preteen girl. And that was with Sasha going through the system, that you're so traumatized by being interviewed and re-interviewed that you feel like you're on trial, that you as the victim feel like you did something. And so this is a place where it's such a critical change, I think, that a child can go there and one time tell their story and not have to tell about that over and over and over.
Oh, it's a sea change. I mean, completely changed the way we investigate. Because if you think about the way we used to do it, even in my county, a child would report something. And remember, these were secrets. I mean, this wasn't a child would be abused and then run and tell someone. These were secrets. These were violations of trust by people closest to them that they held, like Sasha did, for years. And when he finally had the courage to reveal and tell what happened, instead of being believed, he had to talk about it over and over and over again. Police officers and detectives and prosecutors and social workers, medical, mental health, I mean, you name it. If somebody was involved in the system of responding to abuse, he had to tell over and over again. And that in and of itself was so damaging to him and to kids like him, where they feel like they're not believed. Why do I have to do this again? I already told them. Why don't they believe me? And then another problem that came from that is because kids told over and over again, invariably, they didn't say it exactly the same way with exactly the same words every single time. So you would have defense attorneys in court, they would say, well, that child shouldn't be believed because they didn't say it exactly the same. They call that taint. So the combination of the kid not saying things exactly the same way and the multiple interviews really was damaging to our ability as prosecutors and police to seek justice and to get it in court.
And also, I should say, you're a mom of teenagers. You have kids of your own in your life. As a mom and also as a prosecutor, why is this something that is so important to you? Because this is RISA's mission. I mean, this is something that, since I've known you for many years, this is something that you raise funds for. It's not all tax dollars paid. I mean, why is this something that you just want to change the views in society and that you want to do this?
You know, I started my career as a sex crimes prosecutor, and I saw what it did to these kids, and I saw what it did to their families, and I saw the damage. And I think as a mom, that affected me in a very deep place. And I think for a lot of reasons, that's why I stayed. I mean, I'm now there for over 20 years. And I think part of what connected me with this job is the ability to really help kids and families get justice and hold those perpetrators accountable. And so it just connected with me, not just as a prosecutor, but as a mom and just as a citizen. It connected with me in a place where I wanted to make my life about fixing what was broken. And what I saw was our system was broken. Yeah. We were doing things backwards. We were doing things that were damaging kids, damaging cases, and impeding our ability to get justice. And so it's been this mission for well over a decade to change the system, to make it work better for kids, to make it work better for all of the professionals in the system, and to just make it a more sensitive and protective system so that we can do better for the kids out there.
And you are making a difference. We're going to stop right here because when our conversation continues with Risa Vetri-Furman, we're going to welcome the child abuse survivor whose amazing journey to justice and healing is now becoming a film. Stay right there.